There are two types of pretending, you could say. One is conscious pretending, where I know very well that I'm pretending. I'm not taken in by my own pretending. And the other type is unconscious pretending, which is, we might say, where we pretend without having a clue that we're pretending. We really don't know it. And yet we are pretending. Totally pretending, but we'd swear blind that we aren't. So the first type of pretending is, in a way we could say, inconsequential. It's light. It's something we do for fun. It's being playful or being creative. The second type of pretending is not done for fun, and it isn't fun, and it's heavy, and it leads to suffering, because we get lost in our own pretending. So unconscious pretending is how we get lost. It's how we lose ourselves very, very thoroughly. In everyday life, we pretend constantly. We pretend as a matter of course. It's our strategy, pretend. So just to try and make this a little bit easier to understand, we could say that life is full of varying degrees of difficulty, which it is, and that when, in the course of our day-to-day lives, we run into difficulty that is too difficult for us, we pretend that it isn't there, or we utilize some kind of strategy or method that supposedly fixes it, but which doesn't really, but we pretend that it does fix it. So what this means is that during every day, there's innumerable times where we will pretend without knowing that we are. It's like departing from reality without knowing that we are, and ending up in the pretending reality. And the thing about this is, because that's an easy thing to do, it happens every time there's difficulty, some automatic pilot cuts in, starts pretending, or starts modifying how I perceive the world in order to make that perception less demanding upon myself. And ideally, I want it to be not demanding at all. I want it to make no demands on me. Ideally, that's what I want. If I can possibly do that, and to a large extent, it is possible to do that. If I sign up to some kind of religion or any type of generic view which tells me what reality is and what I should do in that reality, then I put myself in a situation where there is no ontological demand being made on me at all. All I have to do is buy into the narrative. All I have to do is go along with the story that's being told to me in the thinking mind or by society. And there is no demand on me whatsoever. It's easy. And so, because of the natural tendency to trope towards ease, it happens like a rock rolling down a hill. It happens every time. We go into the pretend reality, which is our thoughts about reality, our ideas, which we aren't constantly reviewing and holding up to the light to see whether it still holds good. We latch on to whatever view of reality it is that is current, that is being passed around in society, and we simply never question it. We just go along with it all the way. And that way there is no demand whatsoever. There's no difficulty. There isn't the ontological difficulty of having to wonder about reality. That's the one thing we don't want to do. We'd rather be smug and bored in our mastery of a false reality, experts in our mastery of a false reality, than we would be kind of gobsmacked and amazed and all at sea with a genuine reality. That is it in a nutshell. So the genuine reality is the one where we don't pretend, and it's infinitely inscrutable. No matter how much we try to work out what it is, it's always one step ahead of what we thought it was or what we thought it was doing. It's inscrutable. Anything that isn't inscrutable, anything that's scrutable, is the pretending reality that thought creates. That is easy and doesn't make any demands on us. It doesn't make any demands on us to grow, or rather, because it doesn't make any demands on us, ontologically speaking, philosophically speaking, we never grow. We're frozen in a static state. And the aim of society, even though this will be nowhere formally stated, is to put us into that static state of being, to keep us in that static state of being, and maintain us throughout the rest of our lives in this static state of being. And the interesting thing about this is that if I go through life in this static way, unchanging way, life is always changing, the universe is always flowing and changing, but I'm not. I'm the static little thing going along. And actually, what this means is that nothing actually happens in my life. If I don't change, that means nothing's happened. There's been no event. So even though the time, as I go through however long my life is, experiencing this, experiencing that, nothing's actually happening. As Jean-Paul Sartre says, nothing's happening. And when I get to the end of it all, there will have been no event. There will have been nothing happening. Because in a universe where everything is flux, if something isn't changing, it doesn't exist. So this is what we're aiming for in all things. This is what our particular way of life is aimed at. Maintaining and never threatening, never insulting this static ego construct. And this is what our efforts in psychology and psychotherapy are about. They're about fixing the static ego identity when it starts to suffer from itself, from its own situation of being static. To be static in a universe where everything is flow is to be on the outside of things looking in. It's to be not part of, it's to be alienated from life, from reality, from what matters. And that is a situation of deprivation. It's a situation marked by suffering. So we bring into action and try and find ways for the static identity not to suffer or to go back to how it was before when it imagined that it was having a great time, because it never was really. There is neither a great time nor not great time when it comes to the pseudo existence of the static identity. Because looked at, if we were to get to the end of it and look back at everything, we would have realised nothing actually happened. That was the aim. We didn't want anything to happen because we were afraid of something real happening. So we invent a world of unreal happenings, super trivial, super superficial happenings, which is the world of, which is hyper reality, all appearance and no content.